about the scratches on your face, Suzanne?
At age 10, the hoax outrage went over my head. The other reason for complaints was far more relevant to my situation. Children watching. What's happening to Suzanne now happened to them later. They lost their minds, hurt themselves, one fatally so.
She doesn't know what she doesn't know anything. Do you know?
We thought you'd leave us.
Not unaffected. Still visited by whatever it is that visits me. It's a far cry from mental illness and death.
Wasn't it? We just gave you what you wanted. Stop it.
Miss Early, you've heard your daughter. She's admitted the entire thing was a deliberate fraud.
No, I'm sorry, I don't accept that. Dr. Pascoe has seen and heard things same as me. You can't
But
just... Well, she's afraid. She's frightened. She doesn't
But
know
Suzanne
anything.
herself explained, Mrs. Early.
My family are telling the truth. We're all telling the truth.
Well, fortunately, after this turn of events, we're able to return to Dr. Mira Silvestri. Dr. Silvestri was in New York, joins us again now. Dr. Silvestri, I imagine you're about to say, I told you so.
I don't get any vicarious thrill out of seeing parapsychology crucified in public, but it does validate my hypothesis.
Well, what hypothesis?
These are disturbed detention secrets.
Rubbish.
Well, you played into their hands. Primetime TV, Alice in Wonderland couldn't take it anymore. The end of illusion.
This is not the end. Please believe me. I almost feel whatever's in there, it's deliberately muddying the waters.
Well, Dr. Pascoe, thank you. And Dr. Silvestri, thank you too for
This is not the end.
Thank you. And,
Good, because absolutely nothing has happened
a lot of
yet.
activity in our film room. You won't be amazed to hear that after what we've just seen in Foxhill Drive. Mike Smith, what's happening? What's the story?
The strange thing is that we're still getting calls about that shadowy figure that was seen in the haunted bedroom, or people think they've seen in the haunted bedroom.
They literally do this on the real thing. They get viewers to call in their ghost sightings and they all match. I mean, you know, for the same reason the public call into shows like Crime Watch, because they saw the actor who played a murderer in a reconstruction. And they do what those girls just did, knocking on the plumbing pipe, shouting that it's a ghost. They just sell it better, like Sarah Green does here by putting a finger in her ear every few seconds. Even though this is a parody, Ghostwatch is technically more factual than the reality television offshoot that came along afterwards.
To access the tape interviews I've shot at the university, please.
I'm sure it will be, yes.
In view of what's happened, there's a sequence I need to find.
Yeah, they're saying they can get to it sometime further on the program. Yes, okay, we can do that for you. In the meantime, we'll have another Ghostwatch story, and then after that, I'd like to hear your opinion on what we saw a moment ago in Foxhill Drive. Is all of this a hoax, or as Dr. Pascoe believes, are things just about beginning to happen?
Just about beginning to happen. With half an hour left in the program, I should hope so.
When I was about 11 or 12, moved to this
Another
large,
true
old
ghost story.
Devonshire house.
What a phrase. It's almost like the
Lot older
Ghostwatch
than
wants you to
the
discover
house.
its fakery.
And it had a nasty feeling. It was cold, doors open, things fell off the wall, ornaments shattered, and generally it didn't have a nice feeling. My bedroom was in part of that house, part of that old part of the house, and shadows would move at the end of my bed. So I asked for a nightlight. I asked a grown-up, I think it was my
I think
brother,
I had a nightlight.
which made me
Although
worse
we didn't have
than it
anything
was
that
before.
sophisticated back then, so I think it was just a big bright lamp. Technical difficulties like we're having here. I haven't even considered the scariest part of this yet, which is that Pipes is using live TV to get into people's homes. And it all begins here with this live VJing of the recorded footage.
The only one I
Ghost of an
got at the
editor.
moment,
That would have been a
is
good
this one,
twist.
the
That's
Try
far
Her.
worse than that.
She wants to remain anonymous, wants to take part of the programme, but insists on anonymity. Try her.
Okay, Mike, thanks. Dr. Pick. Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Hello, am I on?
Yes, you're on BBC One's Ghost Watch. Now, what do you want to tell me about?
We've got this big glass table. My husband,
has rested one finger on it, and it exploded. Glass everywhere. His face and hands were cut. There's blood on the wallpaper. The ambulance has just gone. My children are frightened. Why are you doing this?
Now, look, I'm sure your children are in shock. Also, obviously, I think it's high time probably your kids are in bed. I mean, just past the 9 o'clock water.
The 9 o'clock watershed was a deadline, a daily deadline that the BBC set on programme makers for explicit and disturbing content. But think about what's being said here. The film is reaching through the screen and talking directly to viewers, telling them to put their children to bed.
Take their eyes off the set. There's blood. There's blood all over the wallpaper.
Look, it's Halloween.
Trusted BBC personality Michael Parkinson's talking straight to the people at home. And he's right, it's all fake, there's nothing to worry about. But he's stoking the fire. You might think you're safe because Parkinson doesn't lie, even in a TV drama. And you're most certainly not.
Listen, please.
Because everything he said is untrue.
Don't touch anything.
And I'm 10 years old,
Take a
still
photograph.
watching.
This is very valuable evidence of
I've got to say to everyone watching, please, we don't want to give anybody sleepless nights. We don't want to start panic.
This is laying it on a
Don't
bit
let your
thick.
imaginations run riot. These things we're talking about are very, very rare indeed. And the chance of them happening to you are exceedingly remote. Please believe us. Right, now I think that, Dr. Vasco, that tape you wanted, that interview you did some months ago with Kim Early, I think that's ready now.
All this stuff with the early children is really getting to me now.
Have you ever seen him?
Never did before.
And what's he look like? Can you describe him to me then?
Well, he's really old. And
These little details that Kimmy's giving now, my son can do the same. He knows what his ghosts look like, where they are in his room. We give them a life,
his
but
head. And then
still a
It's
life.
got a nose. In the middle, it's got a scratch.
And everyone sees the same thing. Does it matter who came up with it first? It's out there.
Dress on, yeah. And it's all really long and it's black. It's got buttons all the way down. And then lots of petticoats under.
Now, can we replay it?
Sure,
Can
sure we can.
Back to the start of the description.
All right, come and roll it back, me too. Start again. There?
Well, he's really old. And this eye's
Dog's barking.
blood all over his eye and scratch coming out, and then the ball.
Kimmy!
Now,
Kimmy!
It's got a nose. Description. Exactly
In the middle,
matches
it's got a scratch
what
all
Mike's
the way
thinking.
Oh my
down.
god, my dog has the same name as one of the little girls in Ghostwatch.
Skull-like head.
I didn't name her, she's a rescue dog.
She says it's black.
Still, I'm starting to get a bit freaked out by the sheer number of coincidences. I'm not saying Ghostwatch is real, but maybe the forces it releases into the world are. I mean, if you look at it objectively, everything we witness in Ghostwatch is reproduced in reality eventually. And there's some overlap too. The real phone number that goes to recording, the kids we hear about in the film are at home terrified about what they're seeing on TV, and the ones who actually did, who end up with PTSD.
It's Pamela. Listen to this.
I can't think about that now.
Cats.
The ramification of that kind of logic is
Can you hear it?
Where, Pam?
it's too big to even consider.
Alright, it's all around us. Like a trap somewhere. Do you hear it? Cats running around up there in the ceiling.
Can you hear anything,
Yes.
Sarah?
Yeah, I can hear it now. She's right.
Mum,
What is it, Kimmy?
what's wrong with Susie?
What do you mean? What's wrong, Kimmy?
This is where shit gets real. I mean, fake.
Suzanne?
The most real that the fake gets.
It's all right, love. Don't get upset, love. Mum's here. Oh, dear God.
Those scratches, they pan away, but we have to face it head on. My son had scratches on his leg, and there was no cause I could attribute it to.
They have to stay, they have to see everything.
That's horror.
Sarah, it's all right. Don't worry. It's some kind of allergenic, like something.
Could be self-mutilation. She could have done it with her own fingernails, you know.
Unless they choose to have fingernails.
Fingernails? What flaming fingernails? What do you want to
This is an accelerated version of what the whole film has been. Glimpses of ghosts, then nothing. It's not just a trick. I mean, it is, but that's the way it goes down. It's not like Blithe Spirit, where your sighting turns into a house guest.
Because she's in agony and she won't even let me touch her.
It goes before you can describe it.
Get a flannel and get some
See how close that bed is to the curtains? The geography of my bedroom at the time tells a different story, but that's how close I remember my bed being.
I just think they'll give it a time.
Maybe it all came from here.
saw something.
I'm breathing in my ear too.
Behind the door.
Nobody there now.
Sorry.
It's got to be Granny's point. She's the bad girl.
It's alright. Just hold.
Sarah, should we send someone in now?
No, God knows how she'd react. Just let's let everything settle down, darling.
We've got to stay. Point says we've got to stay.
I should tell you if you're joined to see the next program that in fact we're staying with...
I forgot this, extending the show like a news report.
are so remarkable.
I suppose you could have checked the Radio Times, which is like our version of TV Guide, but and found out this was a ruse. Doesn't reflect well on the BBC that we're doing it just so we can see graphic images of violence exacted on a
In fact,
young
Kimmy
girl.
was the focus for the poltergeist activity. What does this mean now?
Well, maybe they're both involved. I mean, maybe it's like a tandem effect. Kim's creating the energy and Suzanne's directing the violence in on herself.
First Suzanne, then Kimmy, then this. You don't know, do you?
Parkinson trying to discredit the interviewee as any good BBC journalist would. If you're a viewer, you've got nothing to go on now. Just that bit of tape that went haywire. That's the real story. The last 70 minutes have been a red herring. It's like if we made that stuff up about not being able to go on social media to hide the facts was live. I mean, obviously now it's not live because Facebook paused the video when my Wi-Fi died.
Well, about my mother, really. We
And
were
that must mean it's back up by now.
born and bred, and us children, if we were naughty or couldn't get to sleep, our mum used to say, "Mother Seddons will come to get you." Used to scare us, rigid. I don't know why she.
Parents do some awful and daft things, don't they, Mary?
I like how Parkinson's looking down at the lens when he says parents do some awful things. It's another put your kids to bed while you can moment.
But she used to kill them, and she'd drown them in the big coppers. And why I'm ringing is she used to live in one of the old terraces in Foxhill by the railway, as it was then, and is now Foxhill Drive. And I'm just sure it's where.
That's the most you ever see of Pipes, the peak of Pipes. I remember this very moment with Pipes camouflaged in the curtain, except I don't remember him camouflaged. In my mind's eye, it's a full-size human skeleton straggling those curtains. To me, it was Jack Skellington a year before I knew what he was.
It's alright.
My memory plays Chinese Whispers with Ghostwatch. Chinese Whispers is racist for telephone.
Don't know how the scratches got on their face.
Doesn't exactly make me the most reliable narrator now, does it?
Out of the house now. Things are still quite strange.
No, we don't. Get it all.
The stuff with Kimmy throwing a tantrum, I can't take it. My son throws a tantrum just like that and it's killing me.
Kim, who are you talking to?
Pipes.
Where's Pipes?
Here.
What does he look like, Kimmy?
Somebody's mum.
I'd like both of us to have that house, actually. I'd like somebody to take care of Suzanne as well. And please, let's have the kids out of the house, please, could we?
When the TV was finally turned off in Ben Bourne's house, his dad, ever the Joker, looked down at his wrist and said, "I think my watch has stopped." If I was being generous, I'd say he was trying to lighten the mood. Of course, he completed the circuit of terror by bringing the acts of a poltergeist into the very room we were sitting in.
Hopefully the children are on the way out of the house now. Once they are, that'll be the end of our program, the end of our Ghostwatch program.
Dog won't stop barking.
As we wait for them to come out, so we'll go over to our
Kimmy!
studio.
Kimmy!
What's happening?
Well, it's understandably fairly chaotic here. We're getting all sorts of calls. In Derby, someone was ringing to say that her clock had stopped.
Again, a clock stopping.
Yeah, clock stopping.
Shropshire, their radio has gone dead, and the microwave oven is peeling repetitively.
Parkinson acting like Ben Bourne's dad, thinking it's all a joke when all these stupid details just making the world a scarier place.
Mrs. Pym from Chepstow, her dog won't stop barking.
Dog won't stop barking.
We